Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the imperfect bracket, the disaster bracket, whatever you want to call it. In this bracket, I will be trying to get every single pick wrong and hopefully score a total of 0 points. Now, technically, this is a lot easier to do than trying to get a legitimate perfect bracket. I know I have all the clickbait, the perfect bracket. We know that's basically impossible. You would have to get all the first round matchups right, all the second round matchups right, all the third round matchups right, the fourth round, and of course all of those are hypotheticals that you're putting together, so it's ridiculously hard. But when it comes to trying to get every pick wrong, you just have to do it in the first round, because then you'll have 0 teams in the second round, so it's impossible for you to get any points going on to the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round, and so on. So technically, this is a lot easier because you just have to get every single first round matchup wrong, and you're going to do some strategics to this. I'm going to be picking some higher seeds to win because I think they're actually going to lose. This will be interesting how I fill this out. So obviously, when it comes to the 1v16 games, you are going to want to pick all of the 16 seeds. I'll actually just fill it out like I normally do rather than doing all the 16s, but obviously Stenson over UConn if we're trying to get it wrong. FAU Northwestern, the 8v9 games are the worst in something like this. We're trying to get it wrong. It's basically a toss-up. I'm going to say FAU because I do believe that Northwestern will win that game. San Diego State UAB, I think San Diego State wins. I do not believe that's going to be an upset, so if I want to get it wrong, I'm going to be choosing UAB there. Certainly, I'm going to be choosing Yale. I do not think they will beat Auburn. Auburn being the by far strongest 4 seed in this tournament. BYU, Duquesne. Of course, we're going to be picking Duquesne to move on. BYU on a very strong 6 seed in this tournament. They really did a bad job with this region, man. They really did. I mean, you've got BYU as a 6, Auburn as a 4, UConn's the number 1 overall seed. And then you also do have Illinois, who's a solid 3. I will be picking Morehead State, so obviously going with all the upsets, trying to get these picks wrong. I like Illinois to go maybe Sweet 16, possibly Elite 8, depending in terms of that. There's another very tough one. A lot of people, I mean, Drake is technically the favorites. All right, we will go with, if we're trying to get this wrong, we'll go with Washington State. Now, I did go with Washington State in my personal bracket, but it's like a 50-50. What are we doing here? I'm hedging my bets a little bit, trying to, because it's a win-win, Well, technically, it's not a win-win. I do want Washington State to win. I don't really care how this bracket finishes, unless, of course, I somehow do get every pick wrong. Then it would be kind of cool. Iowa State, South Dakota State, you've got to go with the 15 there, no doubt about it. Wagner taking on, they still haven't updated this. That's disrespectful to Wagner. We will be going with Wagner. Obviously, they should lose. Mississippi State, Michigan State. I think Michigan State, just with Izzo, they're probably going to win. So I will be trying to lose and going with Mississippi State. It is St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. St. Mary's is a team that I like a lot. I think they're underrated, so I will be going with Grand Canyon. I know a lot of people like Grand Canyon to possibly go to the Sweet 16, but not me personally. So if I'm trying to get it wrong, I'm going to choose Grand Canyon because I like St. Mary's to go on a deeper run, possibly defeating North Carolina. Alabama, Charleston, I do think Bama wins that game, so I'm going to go with Charleston just because of their offense. Clemson and New Mexico, I'm trying to get this pick wrong, so I will be going with the higher seed Clemson, who I believe is underdogs in this game. They're like 1.5 point underdogs. Crazy for a 6v11 game. New Mexico underseeded. And trying to get it wrong, going with the higher seed, pretty funny. Baylor and Colgate, you got to go with Colgate there. I'm not expecting Baylor to lose, and I want to lose on the pick, so I'm going to be taking Colgate. Nevada and Dayton, another one I'm going to be picking the higher seed. I do think Nevada will lose, I do think Dayton will lose, but it's a toss-up, who knows. Arizona and Long Beach State, I'm going to have Long Beach State advancing. I do not believe that Arizona, in back-to-back years, will lose to a 15 seed. Moving on to the South, you do have, obviously, going to take Longwood over Houston. In terms of my actual bracket, I have Houston winning the entire thing. Nebraska versus A&M. You know what? I do like Nebraska in an 8v9 game. 8v9 games are hard, but I do like Nebraska to win that, so I'm going to try and lose and pick A&M. Wisconsin, James Madison. I'm trying to lose. I do like James Madison to go on a decent run, possibly to the Sweet 16. so I'm going to be taking Wisconsin there. Duke and Vermont, I think Duke wins, so I'm going to take Vermont. I know some people like the upset there with Vermont, not me. Texas Tech, NC State. People do like NC State to move on. I think Texas Tech gets it done, so I'm picking NC State, hoping they lose. Kentucky and Oakland, I will be taking Oakland. Obviously, I expect the 3 seed to advance there. Florida and either Boise State or Colorado. This is another coin flip. Like, it's going to be 50-50. Now, if Florida faces Boise State, I will have a decent amount of confidence in them. There's an issue, though. A lot of us are picking Florida to go on a deep run. Do we really think that a 7 seed, if we're all picking it, is actually going to do it? It just seems so unlikely if everyone and their mom is picking Florida to go to the Elite Eight or go to the Sweet 16, be a Cinderella. I'm tempted to almost pick Florida and then say they're going to lose to Colorado. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Listen, I picked, you know what, we'll just go with Boise or Colorado. I'm trying to lose, but again, I think there's problems. It's like this weird Inception thing. I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to pick these teams to lose, but the thing with Florida, it is concerning. It's very concerning. If we're all on Florida, it's like, do we really think that we're all going to be right? I mean, come on. Marquette and Western Kentucky. I'm picking Marquette. I'm kidding. I have to pick Western Kentucky. Technically, I did pick this in my bracket because I wanted a 15/2. And we learned last night during my live stream that Western Kentucky is the best 15 team in this bracket. Analytically, they're better than some 14 seeds like Colgate as well. So if you're picking a 15/2, I do like Western Kentucky, even though it was kind of a random last-minute pick for me. They are the best 15 seed, and they ran through their conference tournament. They blew out 2 teams, and then they had like a 7-point win, but they were in control. So look, obviously, in something like this, I'm trying to lose. I do have to pick the 15. Imagine if I picked Marquette and they actually lost. Maybe I should do that. I mean, what does it matter? All right, we'll do that. We'll do that. I'm hoping Marquette loses. Purdue taking on, very likely, Montana State, obviously. No, you know what? If we're going to use last year's strategy, Purdue's going to lose this game. No, I'm kidding. Purdue is not going to lose again to a 16 seed. Utah State and TCU. Who do I think loses this game? It's hard. These 8v9 games, it's brutal. With a challenge like this, it is. It's a toss-up. I'll say TCU loses it, but it's either or. Gonzaga, McNeese. I do like McNeese to win this game, but I'm hedging my bets, and because I have McNeese in my main bracket, I'll say they lose in this one. Sanford and Kansas. I'm going to have Kansas moving on. I mean, the injuries. No, I mean, Kansas is still like a 7-point favorite. No, we'll go with Kansas because I think they could possibly lose. South Carolina, Oregon. I think Oregon's going to win, so I'm going to go South Carolina. Creighton, Akron. I do think Akron could win, so should I go Creighton? No, I'm going to go Akron. Texas taking on Colorado State. I'll go Colorado State. I think Texas wins that game. I do. And then Tennessee and St. Peter's, you have to go St. Peter's. Now it gets a lot less interesting. You're just going to be choosing the lower seeds. Stenson, Yale versus UAB. Neither of these teams should be here, let's be honest. Duquesne versus Morehead State. We'll have Duquesne advancing. Washington State versus South Dakota State. You can see now I'm just choosing the lower seeds. It's Charleston, Grand Canyon. We'll go Charleston. Clemson, Colgate. We'll go Colgate. Dayton, Long Beach State will go Long Beach State, trying to get as little points as possible. Longwood advances. Vermont advances. Oakland is going to advance. And wait, I thought, because I'm hoping a team loses. So should I choose Marquette again? No, I mean, I'm not going to choose Marquette again. Colorado could go pretty far. So this might actually end up being right, which is bad because I'm trying to get it wrong. But we will move on. 16 seed advances. Kansas advances. I mean, the problem is McNeese actually might make the Sweet 16. So should we have Kansas? You want me to just have Kansas? I'm not trying to pick on Kansas. I just think they're injured. South Dakota State versus Akron. You got to go Akron. And then you got to go St. Peter's. Moving on to the Sweet 16 games. It's going to be Stenson. It's going to be, we'll have Duquesne advance. I'm not trying to pick on, you know what? I'm just sick of, I'm done with the Duquesne disrespect. They might go deep. I'm not, so I got to have South Dakota State. Moving on down. A 16 seed, Wagner advances. and then Long Beach State will advance. St. Peter's will advance. I'm not. Kansas will advance now. Montana State or Grambling. Longwood will advance. Oakland will advance. Now we've got 15 versus 16, Stenson, Longwood, 2 Final Four teams, Wagner, and then we will have St. Peter's. St. Peter's is actually, I learned this last night. They're worse than Longwood analytically. Not that it matters. It's very close. There were a few 15 seeds that were worse than 16 seeds. I believe Wagner is the worst team in the tournament, though. But I'm not a fan of, like, picking a team that doesn't have a... We're going to have Stenson advance. We're going to. I think we're going to give Stenson the win. Yep. I just want to see it. I just want to see their little logo. There they are right there. The confetti comes down. Stenson University. Congratulations are in order. A grand total of 1 point will be scored. They win 1-0 on a last-second free throw. Listen, this is, I wonder what percentile this will be. It'll be interesting to see, but just kind of a fun little, I don't know, you want to call it a troll bracket. It's really not even a troll bracket. I was legitimately trying to pick the teams to lose, and we'll see how well this ends up doing. Hopefully it gets 0 points. If it gets 0 points, it's very impressive. I'm sorry, because that means I picked basically all the first round matchups correct, just inverse. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.